Welcome old family and new family to Cipher Scholars. This is your boy, co-host with the most, Brandon White, Bushido Garvey, as I'm known in many MC circles.
It's your boy Rob Blow on the tech, behind the tech on the board.
Yes. But those who don't know, Cipher Scholars is the radio show that's part education, part hip-hop, all culture, that is always part local, part global, and universal. Yes. We have a very busy syllabus today. We're talking about Kim Kardashian's pursuit in the law career, and as a lawyer. Yes. We're talking about the lawsuits for the opioid crisis that are going on right now that have local implications for Rock City.
Yes, sir.
And then we're also talking about the success of LeBron James' school. Yes. So, Kim Kardashian, the social media influencer, husband of Kanye West, one of the leaders of the Kardashian media empire and fashion empire, has decided to take up a career as a lawyer. She's been getting a lot of attention for this and some scrutiny for it.
Yep.
You want to break down what the scrutiny is about?
The scrutiny is about first of all, her celebrity status. Basically, she's pursuing to be a lawyer, right? But she comes from a reality TV show where she is basically showing off her life, her career in fashion, her career in
makeup,
cosmetology,
cosmetics,
cosmetics, and all that. And it doesn't align up in people's minds with it being the right thing to do. Yeah. With such a background, you know what I mean? So she's getting scrutinized for taking this journey, and they feel like this journey that she's taking is an easy journey for her because of her celebrity status. They're saying that because she's a celebrity and she has this past, she actually has the money to pursue this, and for a commoner, it would be a lot harder for them to pursue the same journey, given the same situation. Well, given those particular situations, celebrity versus a commoner.
I don't like when people get like that. I think that's just that part of it is judgmental. It's because unless she's using that privilege or opportunity to cheat, you know what I'm saying? Like we were talking about with the whole college scandal, college admission scandal. If she was doing stuff like that, then that's a problem.
Yeah, this happens right after the college scandal.
But it don't seem like she's. We don't know yet, but it don't seem like she's paying people to falsify test assessments and. You know what I'm saying? Like doctor her image on to other things. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. There's alternative ways to pursue your education.
And to be a lawyer, right?
Yeah. There's alternative ways to become a lawyer. There's alternative ways to become an educator. There's alternative ways to become a doctor. You know what I mean? So, for example, if you was in the education field and you are working, if you have a life where you're working more than one job and you can't do something as for an educator, they'll have to probably pursue something. There's a process called student teaching where you have to go in classrooms and not get paid for it and get assessed for it as well. But for those that have a life that will not allow them to do that, right? There's an alternative way to pursue the same.
That's right.
Go through the same process, but in a different fashion. You know what I mean? So,
that's right. And even with education, because I know with Kardashian, she's not doing grad school and then taking the bar.
Yep.
And that's a requirement in most states to go through a grad school program to take your bar exam and to become a lawyer. But in California, it's not. Yeah. And education is very similar where the requirements are different. You know what I'm saying? Like in New York State, you need. To go through the certification, you need a master's degree, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes.
But there are other places where you can go through Teach for America or other alternative certification routes, right? So she's going a different route, and we know about it because it's Kim Kardashian, but that doesn't mean that there aren't other lawyers in California that went about it the same way. We just know about it because it is her.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So, but I think that kudos to her. As long as she's using her opportunities, there's nothing wrong with opportunities. If I had if I had Kardashian money and I wanted to be, and my kid wanted to be a lawyer or whatever, then I would fund it. That's not something that should be a problem.
So you don't think it's fair for her to get scrutinized, given her background?
I don't think so. I think like if anybody who's in especially anybody who's in education, if anybody in education believes that students can change their lives by finding other things that they're passionate about and learning and working hard towards those things, then Kim Kardashian is not an exception just because she's rich, or there are, with me at least, you might be a critic of the vanity or the narcissism that can come with some of what she's done as an empire. Like she has the right to learn and grow and figure things out about how she wants to, live her life. Okay. The same way anybody else does. And it kind of aligns with what happened in the Oval Office, right? In terms of her who she advocated for.
This stems from her getting a woman out of jail. I forgot her name. Yeah, she's in her 60s. But she was wrongfully accused, I guess, and wrongfully jailed. And Kim Kardashian spoke with the Trump administration, and she was able to get some pull and was able to get this woman out of confinement. You know what I mean? So,
and here's one thing, and again, I've definitely been a critic of how the Kardashians kind of just move overall. But I've always said that these women are way more savvy and intelligent than A, what people believe, and B, what people are made to believe through some of the things that they're talking about or arguing about on their show. You don't just have that, sustain that kind of empire just because you without intelligence, you know what I'm saying? And it goes beyond keeping up with the Kardashians.
Definitely.
It's cosmetic lines and fashion lines and other investments and stuff like that. Their mother and the girls, everybody has to have some degree of high intelligence to kind of maneuver that empire to be as long as it has. Because other people have been set up similarly, where they might have had a sex tape, or they might have had a reality show, and they fall off a couple years later, or not even a whole year, but they've managed to, really build and sustain an empire, and I just don't think they're dummies.
So, you know what I mean? But so people are quite, scrutinizing her because her sales, her viewership on the Kim Kardashian show has declined. You know what I mean? And they might feel like this is a ploy to increase the sales.
Bring it back up.
And
so, honestly, that might be.
I don't know, man. But her father is a lawyer, right? Her father did want to represent OJ, right? You know what I mean? And this could definitely be something that easily does come to her. About, you know what I mean? And passionate about.
That's interesting.
So
I didn't even think. Well, wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be if there's a reality show about her getting her law degree?
No, that or her if that law happens, that I don't know, man. That might be
that's hazy for me.
The scrutiny might be warranted. I don't know.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's a little hazy. You know what I'm saying? And what are you gonna do with everything else when you get that degree? You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's a thing where she's getting so she can be a better advocate for against the criminal justice system, or for a better advocate for criminal justice reform, right? Maybe and not necessarily becoming a lawyer. Who knows? But whatever she does, I'm hoping that it's done right, ethically, and I'm sure it is. And I wish her the best, because everybody deserves a great education journey.
Yeah, definitely, man. What time we had?
We had time. We had time. All right, so you're gonna have to put us on to this, man, because my knowledge is lacking a bit.
No. So next on the syllabus we have the charges that was brought upon Rochester Drug Cooperative, or RDC. The headquarters are based in Gates, and the distribution system, or the distribution. The people that distribute the drugs building is located within New Jersey, I believe. Okay. So,
can I ask a question real quick?
Yes.
Why is this something that why is this a local thing that has a connection to a national thing?
All right. So the reason why this is this local connection. This local thing is connected to the national situation is because this RDC is a distribution company that distributes pharmaceutical drugs, right?
Right.
Across the nation, basically. Across the East East Coast.
East Coast, okay.
East Coast of the nation, right? They are part of the top 10 drug distributors, pharmaceutical distributors of the nation, right? They fall at number 6 in the nation, and they are top 5 here in New York State. They fall at number 4, I believe, or the largest 4 drug distributors here.
Right here in Rochester.
No, New York State. New York State. Okay. So basically they distribute pharmaceutical drugs or chemicals to Connecticut, Maine, Vermont, New Jersey, New York. They distribute to over 1,000, at least 1,300 companies, over 1,000 companies.
And they got caught up.
Now, this is their second time getting caught up with the DEA over 4 years. You know what I mean? So this is their second time. Now, they admitted to some of their accusations by settling.
What were like the accusations? Like how did they get? To my understanding, they got caught up with. Actually, no, I don't even have an understanding. What did they get caught up with? Like, was it a thing where they were not rightfully warning folks about like the power of the opioids, or were they kind of like cooking the books a bit?
So we have situations with narcotics and fraud conspiracies, and knowingly didn't report suspicious opioid orders to the DEA. Now, the companies that they distributed to, right? The pharmaceutical companies that they distributed to were some of those companies were being investigated by the DEA. Okay. Right. So, and they also got cut off from distribution from all other major companies. So these guys decided to continue to distribute to these companies regardless of what was going on with investigations that the DEA had in play. There's these drugs had to deal with fentanyl and oxycontin. Okay. What was it? Oxycodone. Yep. Yeah. Oxycodone and fentanyl. And the sales of both oxycodone sales increased between 2012 and 2016. There was an investigation done by the DEA on the RDC, Rochester Drug Cooperative, and they found out that oxycodone sales increased from 4.7 million pills to 42.2 million.
So they basically doubled their product sales. Yep. Right, or over doubled, and they continue to work with folk that the DEA said don't work with.
Yep. Definitely. So So you got conspiracies, you got turning the blind eye. I don't know what you would call that in law. You know what I mean? Yeah. But the fentanyl sales increased from 63,000 to 1.3 million pills, man. So they was getting it off. Now check this out. Yeah. Let me name off the 2 people that also got caught up within the charges. So RDC. Man, this is crazy. So they did a 5-year investigation, and there were a couple of indictments that was made. These indictments are from ex-officials, towards ex-officials. Let me say that. One of them is Lawrence Dodd, and another one is William P.
Tough Polish last name to say, right?
Piotrowski. I'm gonna spell it.
So you know when I'm hearing all this, especially when you said the fentanyl sales way more than that number was crazy that you said, and there's always this connection. I feel like between like the quote unquote war on drugs and hip hop music, like because you hear more fentanyl references in hip hop music nowadays, and lo and behold, why? These dudes is arranging business deals to kind of make it so that drug is more marketed and sold, even though that there's been stated dangers with it. Now we rapping about it.
These distribution companies are these distribution companies are being seen as those that help to increase the opioid epidemic. Word. Here in the United States, right? Now, these sales that we talked about between the oxycodone and the fentanyl, right, has a relationship with the salary of Lawrence Dahl, one of those people that got also
did his
indicted.
salary get inflated?
His salary increased. Now check this out. RDC makes between $1 to $2 billion a year.
And that's just with RCD.
So this guy, he no longer works with RDC, but he got caught up within those 5 years that he was working with RDC. And one of the two people that got charged pleaded guilty, and that's the northeastern William
Polish last name, brother. Yeah.
I don't know how to say it. Pietrusky.
You know what always fascinates me with that? Like, and me and my wife have talked about this before, where there will be white people who can't say, a simple name like Jamal, like Jamal, right? Or they won't be able to say a simple Spanish last name like Ramos or Calderon or something like that. But they know how to say a name like that with ease. Yeah. Right? These other names are so hard, but look at all those consonants in those last names. And we should be learning those names too, but it's just funny to hear how like one set of names is supposedly harder than another. Yep. But like when you talk about Old Boy and the Prophets, you said this is only one company out of the top 10.
Now check this.
Think about how many other companies are finessing this.
This is the first company that got caught up. This is the first company that got caught up. They had RDC had they did a settlement of $20 million. Real quick, they did a settlement of $20 million, right? Which they will have to pay over 5 years recently. And a stipulation is they will have to get monitored, and the person that they have to go through a monitoring program, and the person that will monitor them will report to the DEA within those 5 years of them paying the $20 million. But I also just said that their revenue is $1 billion to $2 billion. This is a slap on the wrist, man.
Yeah, I was about to say,
this
who's
is
getting
nothing
locked
to
up?
them.
Who's getting locked up?
Also, I want you to keep in mind what type of company this is. The Rochester Drug Cooperative. Now you heard this name, cooperative, right?
Word.
The co-ops,
so
right? So the people that the customers, the local pharmaceutical companies are really their customers, man. They're the one who built this company up. Right, they're the one who invested in these companies, so it doesn't matter if the DEA is doing an investigation on one of your customers. We're still gonna rock out with them.
Right,
you know what I mean?
And again, like
so I want to keep that.
I love that KRS song, Illegal Business Controls America.
Yeah,
right?
This is real, man.
And he talked about that 30 years ago about like how we said legal is aspirin, illegal is weed. And all of this has been deemed either legal or not. Worthy of serious consequence.
And real quick before we move on, man, like Rochester Drug Cooperative basically is saying Lawrence Dahl is fighting against the charges. He says he's not guilty. The other person that got caught up is saying that he's guilty, right? So the company RDC is saying that they didn't have rigorous. The reason why this has happened, they said that this is a mistake. They did not mean to do such things, right? They said that the compliance teams wasn't on point. That they didn't have adequate systems, right? And they didn't use rigorous practices enough to report the so-called suspicious opioid orders that they just let go through and to increase the sales in the pockets of the CEOs and execs and all this other stuff. You know what I mean? So, it's a crazy mess, man. And so this is an ongoing situation too.
I think this is one of those moments where white people in America get the Negro treatment. Right, because we're unfortunately used to the government kind of not treating us right in terms of how drugs are pushed into our communities for governmental gain, and how we got to deal with the consequences. Now, here we have a situation where businesses are clearly taking advantage of what opioids can do to folks, and the government is clearly not holding them accountable the way they need to. But the difference is here, though, again, like at least the white folks are getting humanized with it, right? It was like, we need to have treatment programs, and we can't lock these folk up when we spent 30 years getting locked up for every drug under the sun.
Yeah, and it's taking so long for a corporation to get to get caught up in this, and for a human being to get caught up in this, because you got LLCs, you got all these companies, you know what I mean? For example, HSBC, right? A couple of years ago had their scandal, right? And they weren't able to charge any of the people on the board or the CEOs or the president or whoever, right? Because it's his own entity. HSBC is his own entity, right? It's an artificial person, right, under the eyes of the law, versus a natural person under the eyes of the law. So when you look at
use corporate law to evade personal accountability.
Exactly, you know what I mean?
Which is
I just want to throw that out there real quick. My fault.
No, you good, bro? Because that goes back to, it's funny how all this is tied back to the 13th Amendment. Right? Because at the end of the day, the 13th Amendment was utilized, like the drug war needed the 13th Amendment. Right? Because the 13th Amendment says what? You can't be a slave unless you're incarcerated. And then the drug war allowed for us, or not us, excuse me, us in terms of the United States, us, U.S., to, disproportionately incarcerate folks of color for drugs of similar rates of use, for folks of color compared to white folks, right? But at the same time, we have corporations also using the 13th Amendment to evade accountability for situations like this by saying that their corporation is its own person. Like, the corporation is to be indicted, not necessarily the people in it. This is different. Like, the corporation is its own personal entity, and that gets used. The 13th Amendment gets used to incite that. So, crazy stuff, man. And that goes back to that song, 3-Letter Gangs, or who got the props, who got the juice, who's pulp getting boosted, mixing fiction with the truth, who ain't getting recognition when recognition is due. So
what's next on the
last but not least? Let's end on a good note. No, we got a couple minutes to talk about LeBron James and school. You know what I'm saying? LeBron James last year opened the I Promise School. Now he had an I Promise kind of school support network prior to the opening of this school, but he decided to open an actual I Promise School that had wraparound services for students and their parents and families, right? So, he took, I believe it was 3rd and 4th graders or 4th and 5th graders, I forget.
3rd and 4th graders.
3rd and 4th, right?
Yep. 200 a little over 200 3rd and 4th graders that were at least 1 year or 2 years behind in reading and math or whatever else. Basically within their grade level, they was 1 to 2 years behind grade level. Word.
And what lo and behold, what happened? Almost all students, I forget the exact percentage, over 90% of the students met benchmark and increased, met benchmark in terms of what they, because you know how the NWA, for those who are in the teaching world, the NWEA assessment is pretty universal in terms of assessing reading capability. And what they do is they have a score that is grade level that they mark, and they have a score whatever the student has, and then they have the score that they say that they want the student to get to, right in between whatever's grade level and wherever they're at. So every kid, or excuse me, not every kid, I'm about to exaggerate there, the vast majority of the kids in that school reached the score that the NWEA wanted them to get to or higher. Right, and a lot of kids started reading at grade level as well. There was a lot of success with the school, and again, it's just interesting to me that this is not major news. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just shows to me. First of all, where's that lady that told LeBron to shut up and just dribble? Where's she at? You know what I'm saying? She changed. Where's she at?
Even Trump shamed him for this journey that he took. You know what I mean, or this venture that he took.
Yes, and peace to Tila, peace to Mr. Highsmith and Kyron. What's up, Kyron? That's an inside joke from Mr. Kyron, real quick. But yeah, man, like all these folk are mighty quiet. You know what I'm saying? And you can say what you want, and you know how like all of us getting the whole debate about who's better, Jordan or LeBron or like,
you know what I mean?
Say what you want about the skills in terms of character,
action, in terms
of social action, and civic engagement.
Hold on, social action. It's not even close. Engagement is crazy on LeBron's part, man.
It's not even close.
I mean, the rings is crazy for Jordan though.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Is crazy.
That's a whole fact.
Social action and civic engagement, man.
LeBron is about it. And matter of fact, where's the book? Yeah, there's a book here.
Hold it up, man.
$40 million slaves, right? Like it gets into it has a whole big part about Jordan and the neutrality, why Jordan was selected in terms of being the superstar. One of it was because he was very skilled, obviously hyper skilled, and a really hard worker, right? But also like his neutrality. Right, his decision to not always get involved in politics or activism or whatever have you. They knew he'd be quiet about the shoes, people getting killed over shoes and stuff like that. He always played things real neutral, and they saw that in him prior to it actually playing out. But LeBron has not ever been that. He's had every sneaker deal, he's had every company endorsement, but he's still very vocal about local, political issues, racial issues, and he's putting his money where his mouth is by creating schools like this where kids' lives are really being impacted.
And I think he's playing this position very well, man. He's a valuable asset to this to the NBA company, the National Basketball Association. He's a valuable asset to the social world as well. You know what I mean? Like, so it's not like they can. I don't feel like the corporations that are part of the NBA can really scold him for what he's doing. You know what I mean? Can't punish him. You know what I mean? In other words. So.
And what I found interesting about the school was the fact that it's actually like a regular Akron City School District school. So it's not like he didn't do a charter. He didn't do a charter or a private school.
Okay. Ooh,
right. This is like a regular Akron school, which it seems like Akron is like the Ohio version of Rochester almost. Right. In terms of like what's socio-politically, messed up in the bureaucracy and all of that, and the struggling school district, etc. And the main difference is just like the thought leadership of what the school is going to do in terms of like the wraparound services, where you're going to be like GED programs for like the parents and food and clothing service provided at the school for parents and for kids. But also there was a $600,000 put behind the school, an extra.
Ooh.
So if that's what it takes for students who are most at risk and their families, I don't like at risk actually, we just talked about that at Restorative Practices Conference, at promise, right? Students who are at promise and have been the most disserviced, if that's what it takes for them to be better serviced, and for them to be able to be in good standing and catch up, because third and fourth grade, that's a fork in the road year.
That's a serious. If you mess up during those years, man, statistically, it'll be really bad for you.
Indeed. Peace to DJ Chris G, the OG of all things radio here in the area. Appreciate you checking us out. But yeah,
real quick, man, what we have no time.
We got a couple. We got 2 minutes. We good.
Right, we good. Cool. So LeBron also is giving scholarships. He's paying their way through college for those that are able to graduate. He's going to pay their ways through college. So this guy, like, the school also provides food, clothing,
GED preparation service for the,
you know what I mean? Like, they're in good hands, man. Like, those students are in good hands. You don't have to go. Everything is insourced, it seems. Like, everything is being insourced within that school. You know what I mean? So
what if every single athlete did what LeBron did for their city?
Bro,
for their city, even if you weren't as active as having a whole network, even the I Promise network. But like, if you just did one school and you put $600,000 behind it, and you paid whoever to kind of facilitate those wraparound services for one school in your city that you came from, that you survived, things would be
even if a few of the members of a team could just do that in the city that they're in or something like that. You know what I mean?
That's a fact.
I mean, that would be crazy.
That's a fact. At the end of the day, $600,000 is not a radical amount. It's a lot. I mean,
it's a lot. But
if we're talking the grand scheme of things, especially for like bigger districts, like, that's not a radical amount of money. And if that's what if it takes that money, and it takes that intentional kind of resource and backing. And one thing I don't like, homie, is watch. This is what's gonna happen. People are gonna be like, oh well, we all can't have professional basketball athletes inspiring our kids. Oh well, we don't always have the luxury of having 6-figure boost in our income. Like, we all, like, how do we know they didn't try to cheat on the NWEA and cook the books on the like all the naysayers will start. You know what I'm saying? And that's part of the problem. So
definitely, man.
But keep doing what you're doing, LeBron, and Akron, because it's not just LeBron. Like, them teachers is working hard, the principal is working hard. You know what I'm saying? The district is working hard. Salute to everybody. We need to figure out how to replicate that model.
Yeah, definitely.
But man, syllabus is complete, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So for those who just tuned in, you were listening to Cipher Scholars. Part education, part hip hop, all culture. You can catch us every Tuesday from 1:30 to 2 on 104.3 Whale FM. You can also catch us online on Mixcloud and on Facebook. Peace and progress. Shit.